Imagine waking up one morning and discovering your neighbor built an entire highway system in your backyard while you were sleeping. That's basically what happened to the United States in March 2023. Russia and China announced they've just moved $240 billion between themselves, the entire economy of Portugal, and didn't use a single American dollar to do it. Now, for context, that's like finding out that your ex has been planning their wedding for a year and you had no idea they were even dating someone new. But here is where it gets interesting. 6 weeks after that announcement, 33 African countries, basically the entire African continent, raised their hands and said, hey, we would like to join that system too. The next 8 minutes will explain why this matters to you, even if you've never thought about international banking in your life, because this story has everything: secret financial systems, a resource more valuable than oil, and a negotiation happening right now that will determine who controls the future. And Africa is sitting at the table holding all the cards. They just need to decide whether to play them or not. This is Project Rise Africa. Kindly give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell to get notified anytime we drop analysis like this. Thank you. Let me explain what actually happened with a story you will understand. Imagine you and your friends always split deals using Venmo. One friend, let's call him Sam, runs Venmo account. Sam's been great for years. Everyone trusts the system. Then one day, Sam gets into a fight with your friend Ross. And because Sam controls Venmo, he just freezes Ross' entire account. $300,000 gone, not stolen, just frozen, inaccessible. Ross can see the money, he just can't touch it. That's basically what happened when Russia got kicked off SWIFT in 2022. Now, SWIFT is like the Venmo of international banking. It's the messaging system that tells banks, yes, the payment is legit, go ahead and transfer it. The US and Europe kicked Russia off SWIFT and froze $300 billion of Russian money instantly. Now, if you are China watching this, you are thinking, wait, they can just do that to anyone at any time. So China and Russia did what anyone will do after watching someone weaponize Venmo. They built their own payment app. They called it BRICS Pay. And that $240 billion, that was them announcing our app works. We don't need Sam's Venmo anymore. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. While everyone was watching Russia and China build alternative to Venmo, Africa was quietly building something else. It's called PAPSS, Pan-African Payment and Settlement System. Now, think of it like this. You know how annoying it is when you're traveling and have to convert dollars to euros, then euros to pounds, and the currency exchange booth takes a cut each time. You start with $100 and somehow you end up with like $89 in actual spending money. That's what African countries we are dealing with. Kenya wanted to buy coffee machines from Ethiopia, but Kenya uses shillings. Ethiopia uses birr. So they had to, one, convert Kenyan shillings to US dollars. Bank takes 3%. Secondly, send the dollars through a bank in New York. Bank takes a fee. Thirdly, convert dollars to Ethiopian birr. Bank takes another 3%. By the time the money arrived, 5 to 6% just disappeared into Western banking fees for transactions between African countries. So Africa built PAPSS. Now Kenya send shillings. Ethiopia receive birr. No dollars involved. No Western bank taking a cut. And here is the timeline that matters. PAPSS went live in July 2022, 8 months before BRICS Pay scaled up. Africa built their own system first. Then BRICS showed up and said, "Hey, we noticed you build your own payment system. We want to connect it to ours, so you are completely independent from Western financial system." Now, you're probably wondering, why does BRICS even care about Africa? Here's what this turns into in a treasure map story. You know how in video games, there are materials you need to craft legendary weapons, and you can't substitute them. You need dragon scales specifically, not lizard scales. Africa has the real world equivalent of dragon scales. Every electric car battery requires 2 things, cobalt and lithium. There are no substitutes. The chemistry literally doesn't work without them. Africa has 60% of the world's cobalt, mostly in Democratic Republic of Congo. Massive lithium deposits in Zimbabwe, Democratic Republic of Congo, Mali, Namibia, and others. 47% of the world's manganese, rare earth elements that make wind turbines work. Europe just banned gas-powered cars by 2035. China is electrifying everything. The US committed $400 billion to go green. All of it requires African minerals. It's like Africa woke up one morning and discovered their backyard is the only place in the world where dragon scales grow. And the entire global economy just decided dragons are mandatory. For the first time in history, Africa has something the world desperately needs and literally cannot replace. But here's the problem. Having treasures doesn't make you rich. Controlling who gets access to the treasure makes you rich. So now, we get to the actual poker game being played right now. Watch this pattern. Zimbabwe says, "We are thinking about joining BRICS." Within weeks, China announces a $1 billion lithium processing plant in Zimbabwe. Ethiopia joined BRICS. Suddenly, $5 billion in Chinese infrastructure financing appears. The Democratic Republic of Congo expresses interest. Russia signs uranium processing deals within 90 days. See the pattern. It's a negotiation. You give us access to your minerals, we'll build processing plants and connect you to our payment system. So the West can't freeze your money. The West watched BRICS making moves in Africa and suddenly remembered Africa exists. It's like when you're not interested in dating someone, but the moment someone else shows interest, you suddenly realize what you had. Africa is now sitting at a poker table with 2 big players bidding against each other. That's actual leverage. But there's a catch. There's always a catch. Let me tell you a story about debt. Let's say you owe $10,000 on your Visa card. The interest is killing you, so you get a MasterCard, transfer the balance and pay off Visa. You just got rid of your Visa debts. Freedom. Except now you owe MasterCard $10,000. You didn't escape debt. You just changed who you owe. That's what's happening right now. African countries collectively owe China somewhere between $120 to $150 billion. And many of these countries, Zambia, Ethiopia, Ghana, Kenya, are struggling to make payments. They are not joining BRICS to escape the debt. They are refinancing dollar debt with yuan debt. The debt doesn't disappear. The creditor just changes. And here is where it gets tricky. If your debt payments go through someone's payment system, they have leverage over you. Not formal control, just the quiet kind of leverage where everyone knows what happens if you don't play nice. So here's why this matters right now. 3 massive decisions are being made simultaneously. Decision 1. Who builds the processing plant? Multiple African countries are negotiating with Chinese and Western companies to build facilities that process lithium, cobalt, and rare earth metals. These contracts get signed in 2026-2027. Whoever builds the plant controls the supply chain for 30 years. Decision 2. What currency do you use? BRICS wants to launch their own currency by 2026. If African countries agree to sell minerals using that currency, they are locked into BRICS system. Decision 3. Where do you keep your savings? African central banks have to decide. Do we hold dollars, yuan, euros, a mix? Each choice has different consequences. Here's why these decisions matter. They are connected like dominoes. If you let China build your processing plant, you will probably use yuan for contracts. If you are using yuan, you will hold yuan reserve. If you hold yuan reserves, you will use BRICS payment system. Each choice makes the next one easier and going back harder. It's like choosing your phone ecosystem. Once you are deep into iPhone with all your apps and photos, switching to Android is painful. That's by design. So, let's get to the actual question this whole story comes down to. Is Africa about to gain real independence or just trade British bosses for Chinese ones? Here's the test, and it's simple. Can you say no? Real independence means you can walk away from any deal that screws you over. It means you have options. Let's see the optimistic story. Africa plays both sides perfectly. Take Chinese infrastructure money, take Western infrastructure money, keep both competing, and extract maximum value while building real local capacity. Now, the pessimistic story. Africa gets locked into BRICS payment system, Chinese built infrastructure, and yuan dominated debt, which means 30 years from now, we are having the same conversation about dependency, just with different assets. The realistic story. It depends entirely on what African leaders negotiate in the next 18 months, because that $240 billion announcement, that wasn't Russia and China bragging. That was a signal to every African finance minister. The alternative system works. It's real. The question is whether you're ready to use it and what you're willing to give us for access. 33 African countries responded. We are interested. Let's talk. Those negotiations are happening right now, not in 5 years, right now. The payments are processing, the minerals are underground. Both sides need what Africa has. The question is whether Africa negotiates like someone holding dragon scales or like someone who doesn't realize how valuable they are. This isn't ancient history or future speculation. This is infrastructure deals being signed, currency decisions being made, and payment systems processing billions in real money. The decision made in the next 18 months will set paths for the next 50 years, and is happening whether we are paying attention or not. So, pay attention, because the biggest financial restructuring since World War II is happening right now, and Africa is either about to win big or get played again. The cards are on the table. Let's see how they play them. This is Project Rise Africa. Subscribe and be part of this project. Thank you for listening. I will see you there.